Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right. The Biden campaign is going full Dark Brandon. I know it's going to warm the cockles of your hearts. It was announced recently that the thrust of basically President Joe Biden has directed his senior campaign aides to go after Donald Trump every time he says or posts some crazy stuff on the internet. And I saw a clip on TikTok or a short on YouTube from Brian Tyler Cohen. It says the thrust of Biden's direction delivered to his senior-most staff was to significantly ramp up the campaign's efforts to highlight the crazy shit that Trump says in public. And the article provides examples, like when Trump is out there saying that let's see, they have examples here. When Trump says he would encourage NATO to invade countries that don't meet their obligations, basically he's saying that, Trump is basically telling Russia to go greenlight him for more war. And that when Trump was out there praising Putin, Biden says no president before has ever bowed down to a Russian dictator. And then when he was asking where Nikki Haley's husband was, he says, yeah, Trump, this guy wouldn't know service to his country if it slapped him in the face. He thinks our troops are suckers. So they're going after him. And he's hitting him with the sharp retorts that the Trump fans think about Trump and they love about Trump. It's like, oh yeah, he tells it like it is, and he doesn't spare words. Well, guess what? Biden's taking a page right out of that and just dishing it right back. Expect that he would have gone after Trump's memory, but Mr. Herr's report is going to kind of tamp that down a little bit. But you know what? I do it anyways. Oh, you say I'm an idiot with no memory? Listen to this bozo. Can't remember who the president that he ran against was. Can't remember who the Speaker of the House was. Thinks we're going to be in World War II. Matter of fact, I'd mock him every time I could. Yeah, better be careful, huh? World War II is going to happen any moment now. Right, dumbass? I'd call him the dumbass. That would be my nickname for him. I'd call him the dumbass every chance I could get. Yeah, you could vote for the dumbass if you wanted to. The incontinent dumbass. Let's add adjectives to it. Hit him where it hurts. Go low. He wants to go low. It resonates with his base. And in the end of the day, you want to get the message to his base. Might infuriate them, but guess what? They're infuriated about everything anyway, so who cares? Now, probably the reason why he won't do that is it would be off-putting to independent voters. But at the same time, some independent voters don't like the fact that the Democrats seem to just waffle and cave in the minute anybody says something hard or some double standard. Like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to hit back and hit them hard because punching them in the face is the only language they understand. So give them a message in a language they understand until they get the message. Might have to do it a couple of times. Not advocating violence. I'm advocating for good communication. And sometimes you just got to communicate in the language they understand. Entertainment purposes only. Punch him in the nose. No, I'm not advocating violence. Pow! All right. What is the energy around this latest pronouncement? This basically, let's unleash Dark Brandon upon the Donald Trump and his sycophants. Nightmares, stress, anxiety, worry. I think Biden's worried. And this article does discuss how people put on rose-colored glasses so quickly for Trump's 4 years in office. It's like they forget about all the mayhem. They forget about all the norms and standards being broken. So he wants to remind them of the nightmare that is Donald Trump and what he's going to do for your livelihood in there. Yeah, Queen of Swords. Basically, this guy is a wreck. He's going to make your life a living hell, and I'm here to tell you about it. I'm not going to pull a damn punch on this. This is what you want. This is what you're going to get. Is that what you want? Again, it's that tough love from a parent who loves you, but it's going to hold you accountable. And there is no way you can say, oh, I didn't know he was like that. Yeah, you did, because I told you. Underneath it all is the 10 of coins. This, to me, is the legacy of the United States. This is our democracy that we've held for generations. This is the history and such of the U.S., and it's at stake. You put Donald Trump in, say goodbye to your democracy, it's gone. It just is. And that message needs to get out because not enough people have sorted that out yet. In the past, we got the 9 of coins. People romanticize things and they want to think about how great things were under the Trump and how everybody prospered and the stock market went up and this, that, and the other thing. And they're going to forget about the trade wars and the suffering that the farmers went through and how the tax break, got the average middle-class family a $60 a year tax break. That's going to be for 5 years and it's going to be canceled. But the billionaires got millions and tens of millions of dollars in tax money back. How, Congress passed something to allow overseas money to come back to the United States and not be taxed. And the government and the corporations brought it in, immediately did stock buybacks, thus pushing that money up to the upper echelons of the economy and basically the American oligarchs. That's not something to celebrate. Current situation at the tower. So knock down this sandcastle, this house of cards of happy memories that the GOP is trying to build up. Knock it down. Hit them with the brutal reality of what life really was like under Trump. Hit them with the reality that you elect Trump, we don't have a democracy anymore. Period. It's time to get real. 5 of Swords, because there's no compromise. Trump is not going to get in there and only be a dictator for a day. This really is, in 2024, this is the fight for American democracy. If we win this fight in 2024, we've bought ourselves a 2-year reprieve. And in that time, Congress has to get laws passed to secure voter rights, secures women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and try and do something about gerrymandering and voter suppression. Those are kind of like your top priorities in there. And you've got only a 2-year window to secure some of those things. And to me, it's the voting rights. No, this is not an offense to women's health and reproductive rights, but the voting rights has to get through. Stuff to deal with gerrymandering would be great to get through, but voter rights you have to get through. You've got to stop voter suppression so that people can continue to vote for the policies that will keep America as a democracy. And if America's democracy can be strengthened, we've got a little bit more time to get through those social issues. We will get through the women's rights. That will be a priority because the Democrats are running on it. Therefore, they're going to have to deliver on it. But there's so much more they have to deliver on too. The message, overarching energy is, do not be fooled. Do not make this same mistake twice. Do not put on the rose-colored glasses. You vote this guy in, we're done. We're done and dusted. This is it. This is your 2-year reprieve. Out comes the 2 of Cups. I think asking his folks to go forward with those messages and emotional messages is going to pay dividends. You really need to engage young people and get young people out there to vote. Even folks that may not want to normally vote, you've got to get them out to vote. You've got to get every able-bodied person to vote. And since a majority of this country seems to vote towards the Democrats, even if you got 100 extra people to vote, a majority of those people will vote for Democrats. So get out and vote. And that's what they're trying to do. Let's make that connection. Okay. Will this work? Or how will this work? Maybe that's a better question. How will this work out? Because I could ask, will this work with women? Will this work with independents? Will this work with non-committed voters? Will this work with conservatives? How will this work out? How will this all pan out? How will this work? Maybe the better question. How will this all work? Give us a hint, an idea, some illumination. How will this work? Let's see. Nine of Wands. It's reminding people of the stuff that they were worried about. Get them, remember, it's basically getting them to be concerned about what's coming down the road. Again, it's it's a battle. It's a battle, and the battle's not lost. So in some of it's like, come on, we need you to. We understand you're tired and wiped out. We need you to step up. We've got another fight coming on. How's it going to work? For folks that are tired, it's just going to urge them on. Come on, you can do this. It's encouraging them. King of Wands. I will lead. I just need you to follow. I will lead the way. I'll do the heavy lifting, but I need your help to do this. And it's getting that message of values out to people. People are tired. And Biden is showing a fieriness with this. And if you can get a fiery leader, that energy will transfer over to, to his followers, to the troops that he's going to lead. And it's going to give that message. And the past is the Hanged Man. They might start looking at Biden in a different light. It's to not look at the past in a different light with Trump. Look at the past the way it was. Look at the future as the way you want it to be. We're going to do this together. The current situation is the Eight of Cups. Again, people are emotionally forgetting the trauma that was the Trump years. And I think it's a lot of it's Trumpers, but maybe it's some independents are forgetting what Trump was like, and he's not going to let them forget. And he's not going to let them forget that Trump says unhinged things. They attack Biden for that, but, good for the goose, good for the gander. Both the pot and the kettle are black. Which one do you want? Queen of Pentacles. He's also going to focus on his values and American values. What values do you want for this country? What's more valuable for you? You're not a victim. You don't have to be held hostage. You have control over your situation. If you show the energy, and I will show you the way, and I will lead the way for you, don't sit out this election. It's too important. Your vote matters. We can do this together. We will build a new future together. It's going to work. His messaging is going to work. He's going to engage people. His messaging is going to work. It's going to engage people. So good on him. Good on him. Because we need that. That was a nice card to get on the ending there. I'm starting to get a little nervous. All right. Just a little four-parter. Is there anything else, Spirit, that we should know about this and how it plays out? Anything else you'd like to share with us that we haven't covered, or you just want to reiterate? We'll see if the cards duplicate themselves. Okay. One cut to make sure the bottom's not the same. I always do that after shuffling. Actually, usually before I shuffle, I usually cut the card so that the card that was on the bottom doesn't stay on the bottom, because then you can shuffle it and always have that same card on the bottom. So I try to cut it, shuffle it, and then cut it again before I do the overhand shuffle. So if that bottom card comes up twice, it's because it was meant to. All right, let's see. Anything else the Spirit wants to tell us? Page of Wands. It's a time for leaders. It's a time for leaders, and it's a time for young leaders. Biden's old. He's a King of Wands. But if you can get voting rights secured, if you can do this stuff, the young leaders will be stepping forward. The next generation of leaders is coming up. Yeah, there's that hanged man again, huh? It's work. The work has to be done, hammering away the values of the United States for these young leaders to message, to look at problems differently. Stop looking, we don't need octogenarians leading this country. Not that they're not capable, but there's so much concern about people's ages and stuff like that. Um, I think the thing is, and here's where I'm going with it. This is not to be ageist or anything along those lines. I think what ends up happening is we had young leaders, you know, Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer. These folks, they were young, and they got to take over and lead the way. But they never stepped down. They never stepped aside to prepare the new young leaders to take over. Because once they had that power, I think they probably liked it and they didn't want to give it up. Nancy Pelosi kind of was the first person to take that step to get Hakeem Jeffries in there. And he's going to be great at what he does. Will he make mistakes? Of course. So did Nancy. But you've got to get that. You've got to get young people activated. You've got to get young people looking at things in a different light because they have a different perspective. Their values are, I say their values are different, but they look at things in a different light. So they need to evaluate the Democratic Party with their new leaders. They need to look at problems differently. The old ways of doing it don't necessarily work. They're too divided. You need to have integrity. And you need to look at the pros and cons of things. Reevaluate what you're doing. And then work. This part never changes. From the greatest generation to the silent generation to the baby boomers to the Gen Xers to the millennials to Gen Z. It doesn't change. You've got to do the hard work. And when you've got young dynamic leaders who can look at things differently and maybe understand how values in society have changed, then they can lead that charge. And if you're wondering about values of society changing, I'll just throw to you the whole pronouns thing. Did you ever in your lifetime think that we would have people of a certain gender changing their pronouns to represent a different gender for themselves? My God, my poor fourth grade, fifth grade English teacher in elementary school. It's like, it's already hard enough to teach pronouns to these little twerps. And now all of a sudden you've got people changing their pronouns to better match their sexuality or how they feel about or how they identify themselves. It's a remarkable person as you get older who can just sort of roll with the flow on this one. And you might say, well, what difference does it make? Come on. The reason why we use she is to identify as your woman. If you want to identify as a wombat, what pronoun do I use if you want to identify as a wombat? I don't know. I don't get it. But you know what? It's not for you to get. It's just showing respect for folks. I'm going to get myself into all sorts of trouble with the comments on this one. But society is changing and it's evolving. And you just got to roll with it. If you can just roll with it, you bend with it as opposed to staying stiff and breaking. And you need young leaders in there to keep up with society. Otherwise, we end up in the position where we are now, where you have some people so scared of change and they've been so successful in preventing change from happening that they are willing to go back to an authoritarian government being led by a king. It's how quickly did we regress 250 years of American history? Like that. So you got to push forward with that one. Be flexible. Things are going to happen that you don't understand. You're not required to understand it. You don't even have to agree with it, but roll with it, okay? It'll make life easier for yourself and everyone else. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words and your shares and your likes and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel recently, welcome. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful. And for all my YouTube viewers and all the Wombats out there, have a great night, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.